Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Botched Bill. A state judge is refusing to dismiss a suit challenging the recent legalization of homosexual marriage in New York on grounds that Governor Andrew Cuomo's tactics used to pass the bill may have broken the state's open meeting laws. The Wall Street Journal reports that Governor Cuomo's secret meeting behind closed doors with several GOP state senators before the law was narrowly passed was unnecessary and maybe even illegal. And according to the judge, quote, there is no demonstration that the public welfare on this issue required secrecy, end quote. Acting State Supreme Court Judge Robert Wiggins answered the Attorney General's defense of the law by saying, quote, it is ironic that much of the state's brief passionately spews sanctimonious verbiage on the separation of powers in the governmental branches, and clear arm twisting by the executive on the legislative permeates this entire process, end quote. It's not just the issue of homosexual marriage that has many up in arms over the bill, but what seems to be an apparent lack of integrity in the legislative process, according to freedom groups. Chaplaincy Conscience Clause. After the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the Senate is amending the 2012 Defense Authorization Bill to allow all chaplains serving the military the choice, by law, to refuse to perform same-sex marriages if their conscience prompts them to. According to ArmyTimes.com, the Republican Mississippi Senator Roger Wicker's amendment was approved by voice vote with no debate, though he made it very clear what the intentions were behind the measure. He says, quote, this amendment will allow the chaplains of our armed forces to maintain the freedom of conscience necessary to serve their nation and their religion without conflict, end quote. Though the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell is in direct conflict with the Defense of Marriage Act, an active federal law being ignored by Obama's Justice Department, moderates say this amendment calms fears that the military might try to force chaplains to perform same-sex marriages. Lame lay plan. As the crisis in the church around the country worsens, the Archdiocese of Detroit has decided to solve some of its financial problems and a shrinking priest population by closing more parishes. In the recently released proposal put together by a panel of lay people, it has been recommended that some 48 parishes be closed, 9 of which will be shuttered over the next 5 years. One suggested closing, the well-known and revered Detroit parish of Assumption Grotto, seems to be particularly rash, as it puts papally mandated service to thousands of traditional Roman Catholics at risk in the Archdiocese. It has been suggested that Assumption Grotto parishioners travel to the parish of St. Cyril and Methodius in Sterling Heights, Michigan, over 16 miles away in the suburbs, where the traditional Latin Mass is only offered once a week on Saturday evenings. While the plan is quickly finding many critics, Archbishop Alan Vigneron has announced that he is likely to begin implementing the plan as early as February 2012. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
Censoring Siri, the latest operating system's voice for the new iPhone 4S, named Siri by her creators, is capturing the hearts of pro-lifers, even if Apple is calling her so-called bias a, quote, glitch. Apparently, the electronic personality is being accused of being against abortion. And when someone asked her why she was, quote, anti-abortion, Siri's response was, I just am. The application will define what abortion is if asked, although in San Jose, New York City, and Washington, D.C., she directs those asking her for abortion clinic locations to a pro-life crisis pregnancy center. Apple released statements this week saying that Siri's handlers plan on reprogramming her without the controversial bias, according to the Silicon Valley San Jose Business Journal. But LifeNews.com says the problem enraged abortion activists so much The NARAL pro-choice sent Apple an official letter of complaint. Mocking virginity. Cable television's The Learning Channel, or TLC, says it wants to celebrate the choice of virginity in its latest reality special as it sets up to premiere Virgin Diaries this Sunday, a reality special many critics are already decrying as the network's latest, quote, gawk piece. The show will follow several couples as they take their first steps to the altar, saving themselves, and in one case, even their first kiss, until they're married. TLC's vice president of production in California told abcnews.com, quote, losing one's virginity is a big life decision. It seemed like one of those seminal life moments that's interesting to follow for TLC, end quote. The Learning Channel also followed what have become controversial family situations in today's society, like large families in the show John and Kate +8. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex today, where Michael talks about how the lukewarm claims of some to be Catholic are really not on the same page as the truly Orthodox. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.